Woof, Diogenes here once again. A longer version. An olive branch to the Republic. I want to speak tonight, not with anger, but with care. Because the Republic is bleeding, and no amount of shouting will stop the wound. The United States doesn't need another sermon of outrage. What it needs is an act of grace. One American looking across the divide and saying, "Come home." The diagnosis. In 2019, as Paul Ryan resigned the speakership, he said, "We are no longer the party of fiscal conservatism. We are the party of obstruction. We are unable to govern." That wasn't commentary. It was a eulogy, delivered by the man who tried to save it. The party of Lincoln and Eisenhower had drifted from stewardship to spectacle. The torch of conservatism that once meant duty, balance, and restraint was traded for tribal loyalty and grievance. That's not conservatism, it's corrosion. And corrosion spreads. And yet, I don't speak those words to condemn anyone, because behind every movement are human beings, people who feel left behind, unheard, disorientated in a world that changed faster than they could understand. They were promised certainty. They were handed chaos. And in that chaos, demagogues built a stage and sold outrage as meaning. The human truth. Many of the people now mocked as cultists are not hateful. They're hungry. Hungry for belonging. Hungry for a sense of stability. Hungry for something true to hold on to. And we call them fools. We drive them deeper into the arms of those who profit from their very fear. I say this not as a partisan, but as a citizen who loves this country, a Jeffersonian Republican who still believes that governance requires self-respect. The founders argued ferociously, but they built this republic on one enduring idea: that reason and dialogue are the last defense against tyranny. The loss of stewardship. Fiscal conservatism was never just about balancing a spreadsheet. It was about stewardship, spending wisely to preserve the nation's stability, its dignity, and its opportunity for generations. But in the past decade, obstruction became a virtue, and governing became a sin. When the deficit ballooned under a Republican administration and that party stayed silent, that wasn't pragmatism, it was surrender. Leaders began to see chaos not as a problem to solve, but as a resource to exploit. Rage became the new currency of power. The old Republican ethos, Lincoln's compassion, Eisenhower's prudence, McCain's honor, was replaced with a cynical theater of grievance, and the result, a party that could no longer govern, and people too exhausted to try. The olive branch. But I still believe in redemption, not of politicians, but of people, because America has a long tradition of renewal. Every generation faces a test that asks the same question: do we serve the Constitution, or do we serve our own reflection? This is that test. And the answer cannot come through humiliation or mockery. You don't pull a friend from a cult by shouting. You remind them what life looked like before it. You remind them that conservative once meant conserving the republic itself. Not a man, not a slogan, not a movement, but the fragile idea of self-rule. The path forward. If the Republican Party can rediscover that, if it can find the humility to admit its sickness, it can heal. And if the left can show mercy instead of mockery, it can help rebuild that bridge. Because the future of this nation depends on a coalition of clear-eyed citizens who remember that debate is sacred and that democracy dies not with revolution, but ridicule. I don't want revenge. I want restoration of dignity, of dialogue, of governance, and I believe that's still possible. Closing. America has stood at this edge before, bitter, divided, wounded. But every time that we've pulled back from the brink, it was because a few brave souls chose to be bigger than their anger. So tonight, I choose peace. I choose conversation over condemnation. I choose the Republic, still imperfect, still worth saving. And to those still trapped in the fever of the cult, I offer not judgment, but an open hand. The torch is still lit. Come home. Paul Ryan's eulogy, how the Republican traded stewardship of for the spectacle and the lost ability to govern. Think of that. The quote from the former Speaker of the House, and how a rising star within the Republican Party resigned in 2019 with those words. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe. My fellow Americans, come home. We can still save this country. The left and right, we're people. We're not enemies. Your anger is misplaced. Find the center and come home. Woof. Diogenes, the great modern American cynic, out.